Hey everybody, it's Jim Kemp with 705 CNC. Hey, today I got something a little bit different for you. We've got a hack that we've been using in the shop using some USB cameras to make really precise measurements. So if you've got parts that are a little, you want to figure out what these guys are, what their measurements are, you can use calipers in the standard way, but another trick is to use the actual machine and make the measurements in the machine. So we call this the hair splitter, and in this video I'll show you how to set it up quick with just a standard USB camera connected to your laptop, and you can make measurements down to the accuracy of your machine. So in the case of the VF2 here, it's down to a 10,000th of an inch. So yeah, hang on with your hat. So for us, favorite camera to use is this Dino Light, which is a brand name that you can get. This is actually billed as a USB microscope. This thing's really old. I actually won this at a Seco tool training class, so they gave this away as a door prize at the end. The nice thing about this USB camera is it's got LEDs around the lens on the inside to kind of light up the field of view, which is kind of nice. But I actually have a tub of USB cameras I found, and I tested a few of them. This Logitech did not work. This LabTech did not work. And what I mean by work is, I just plugged it into my laptop. I got a brand new laptop and plugged this thing in and fired up on a Mac. It's called Photo Booth, and they did not work. But this little Logitech did. So that one worked right off the bat. And so does this Inland, which is like the cheapest of the cheap brands from Micro Center. This probably costs 10 bucks or something. I mean, it's super crazy cheap. So, we've got these around for when customers make us do Zoom calls. You have to fire up one of these things. But the normal go-to is this little Dino Light, which is nice. I've got no skin in the game. I'm not promoting these guys. It's just that it's a handy little camera. We keep it just kicking around on the desk so that you can, look at cutters and parts with basically a little handheld microscope connected to your laptop, which is nice. So the trick is to mount that in the spindle of the machine. So just got a bar mounted into a tool holder with a little 3D printed bracket, and this guy just pops down in here. And you turn the thumb screw clamp and then mount that in the spindle, and we're off to the races. Oh, one other thing that's handy to have is, the cords are never long enough, so having a USB extension cable is really pretty handy, so you're not so constrained by the cord. And this doesn't seem to cause any problem by extending this out. And then of course on a stupid Mac, they don't have USB ports, they have USB-C ports. So you gotta have a little adapter to go into the cable to convert. But after that, yeah, no problem at all. So we'll get that mounted on the machine next and start making measurements. We actually use this thing often enough that we just keep this bar mounted right in this tool holder. And yeah, this thing's been around for a long time, years and years. We've probably been doing this at least 6-8 years or more. I mean, it's been a long time. It's just one of those things you don't think about after a while, but then it's like, I gotta look it on the internet and on YouTube, and there's like just nothing about how to do this hack, this trick with a USB camera. It's just so simple, and it turns your machine into a really precision measurement machine. So yeah, of course, step number one is mount this thing in the spindle. And then grab the camera here. This guy just pops down in here. There is I think the black side you want facing that way. So yeah, I'm not quite sure what the You know, there's nothing critical about this mounting, so it's not a big deal. So that's basically it. You just get this thing in here, and in a second we'll align the camera to the vise. So I've got the vise trimmed, of course, so it's nice and straight. And then in a minute we'll get this thing rotated around so that the camera view is straight, you know, so as you travel. But that's really not even a requirement. I mean, if you want to do something quick and dirty, not a big deal. So we'll start off. We'll throw this little part down in here. So, you know, this kind of is difficult to make some of these measurements, like trying and get in there and measure, you know, what's the distance between the top edge and there. You know, you could use Joe blocks, of course, but measuring these arcs, you know, it's just a pain. So it's way quicker just to pop this thing down in here, get a little clamp, and then jog the camera down over it and start looking at it with the camera. So let me get it hooked up to my laptop with a cable, and we'll look at that next. Hey, just a quick word from our sponsor, from J.K. & Sons Engineering. Great sponsor. In fact, that's us. Let's start over. Hey, just a quick word from our sponsor, J.K. & Sons Engineering, proud maker of the VacClamp, which is a control system if you have a vacuum plate and you want to put vacuum to it. Instead of buying the Venturi pumps that make tons of noise and are irritating, use a lot of compressed air, this system, which is a relay box with a display head, magnetically sticks to anything. So typically you put this on top of your machine, magnetically stick it down, and you can either screw this down to the back of your machine, or it can even come as an option with magnets to stick that on the side of your machine as well. So you got a vacuum compressor down here with a reservoir, and the VacClamp will control this thing and generate some vacuum. Vacuum is coming down. There's two little set points. Probably can't see them, but as soon as it gets down to 25 inches of mercury, where the set point is currently set. Oh, helps if you close it off so you can actually get down there. So yeah, I had it was leaking right here. So yeah, this guy's sole job in life is to keep turning the vacuum pump on to maintain vacuum. So, you know, you put a piece of material on here, line it up, and turn the vacuum on, and boom, this thing is stuck on there, not coming off until you close it off, pop it off, and now with no vacuum, no problem. As soon as I turn the vacuum back on, we're using the vacuum reservoir, so the pump doesn't have to come on from part to part to part. So, you know, once this is evacuated and you don't have any leaks in the system, this thing will sit here for an hour, no problem. Then the pump will automatically come on for a few seconds and keep this thing stuck down. I've had this system running overnight sometimes when I have a part loaded in the machine. I don't want to have it move. Just leave the system on, and once an hour, pump comes on for a few seconds and come in the next morning, no problem. So awesome little product. We sell this on VacClamp.com is the website to go to get your very own. Thanks a lot. Okay, I thought we'd start off with the software that comes with this camera, the Dino Light software. So you can just go to their website and download it pretty quick and easy. They got Mac and Windows, and I'm not sure about Linux, but so if we pop up their software, this is what it looks like, and then as soon as we make a connection to the camera, it should pop up. Yeah, there we go. So now we'll jog over the part. Let me rotate this to the other side. Let's give us a little more room. Let's see how that does. There we go. So, we're about 1/8 of an inch off the surface. And we really would like to have it so, yeah, it looks backwards. So we want the black. Let me loosen this up. Turn this 180. Something like that. Of course, ideally you want the image to be straight across, right? The video. So move it down a little, or maybe, yeah, down. There we go. Yeah, that's a little low. About 1/8 of an inch up, and I think this is a focus, right? So there we go. We want to be focused on the top surface, and then straight across. That's pretty much it. So a little more focus. There we go. So, we want to know the distance from here to here. We would, let's get a pointer. Make a makeshift pointer quick out of a Post-it note. So, tear something up quick. You can use you can use the cursor, or, you could just, crap, that's not working. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see the cursor or not on video. Let's stop and have a look. Okay, this is the more typical setup that we usually run, with the camera cord getting, draped over the top of the machine, with a USB extender cable coming down to my laptop. So normally I don't use that DynoLite software. We'll fire up the standard Mac software. Is called Photo Booth. So if I start that, and it defaults to the camera built in, so we'll switch that to DynoLite. Appears in the list of cameras, so we'll pop over to that guy. And we'll stretch this thing out. And here's our little Post-it note corner right here. So now we can jog the machine, jog along in Y. Switch to tense. You can see that. Get that thing exactly perfect. Well, first we should probably make sure we're, did that flicker? Better not. Let's make sure we're on the very top of the arc. So we'll slide down in Y. It looks like we're pretty close. Let's slide over a little in X. Got down to tenths. Try and find the absolute maximum here. Put it on Y. And then with positions, you go to operator and you can hit origin to zero that guy. You can switch to X, origin. So now 0, 0, 0 for my positions. So now I can jog this thing up in Y. And go in thousandths. Put it right on the corner again. Switch to tenths. There we go. Yeah, so 128.2. So, of course, then we could jog up a little bit and actually measure this chamfer. What we can't do easily without a lot of work is measure this arc. That is flickering. I wonder what's going on. I don't know if it's a cable, the camera's finally giving up the ghost. I don't know. It's weird. Maybe I'll try a different USB camera, but I just like the way this one mounts and works so much. Maybe I'll reboot my laptop. Maybe that'll fix it. Hard to say. Okay, I rebooted my laptop, so hopefully the flickering's gone. No, it's still there. Damn it. I have no idea. Never seen this before. What could be causing this? And then try cycling these connections a couple times. Plug it back in. And it still flickers. I don't get it. The LEDs are staying on solid, so the power's not flickering to the camera. I guess next step would be to get rid of this USB extension cable, see if that's causing it, or change out this adapter, or change to a different port on the laptop. So if I switch from that side to this side, would that make a difference? See if it flickers now. You know, there it is. Still flickering. Something's up. One thing to note though, you can make really large measurements, right, across large parts because you have the full travel of the machine. So we've got this marked at 0. I can jog along X for really large distances. You know, make another measurement, and so I have on this machine 30 inches of travel in X, 16 in Y. So I measure pretty big parts down to a 10,000th of an inch on this machine, or 0.01 millimeters, I think, which is actually even more resolution. So that's pretty cool. Let's get rid of this flicker problem. Ay, ay, ay. Right, exactly back where we were, which is pretty cool. Okay, I think the flickering problem has been fixed. So it turns out it was a crappy USB extender cable. So by just going direct to the laptop, flickering is seemingly gone away. By the way, this is a US dime that we're looking at. We're looking at the date on a dime right now. So that's the kind of, I don't know what zoom factor this camera is, but that's how it zooms in. So a nice feature of that camera. I'm not sure regular USB camera how zoomed in it could be, how much you could stretch out the video, but that's this camera. The downside of this camera to be aware of, it's only 640 by 480 resolution, so you don't get a whole lot of pixels, but it seems to do the job. So another nice feature of this photo booth is that you can also snap pictures. So if you want to record a location, you could save it, you know, with the pointer over a certain location. You could save it, and then you could put in the file name what the coordinates are, absolute coordinates, if you wanted. So you could go around a part and measure a bunch of stuff. So this is what we've been doing for years, and it's okay and it works. But then, you know, with the age of AI coming about, I thought we'd let Claude and Anthropic have a wag at creating a custom app for this thing. So that's what we'll look at next. Ta-da! We get the hair splitter app, hair splitter video app. So this is displaying video from the downlight, and it's giving you a dashboard over here on the side. And what's really cool is these numbers match those numbers. So we've got a wireless network connection from the laptop to our building network, and the house is connected to the building network. So we can use, I forget what they call it, data management, something or other, where you can make a network connection to the house and ask for the contents of a macro variable, which if you ask for 50, 42, 43, 44, I think, it gives you the current position in the current work coordinate system. So we got G54 up here, and we're reading G54. And the cool thing is now, if we jog to a position, let's see if I can do that. If I jog around, just grab some random spot, and I hit the space bar, it's now captured that spot. And then if I jog to a new spot somewhere else, it's telling me the distance, right? Delta distance. If I move along Y as well, now it's telling me both the X and the Y delta distance, as well as the angle between the two. So now you can make real-time measurements, right? So if I hit spacebar again, now it's waiting for a third point. We can actually measure an arc now. So let's go back and do that around that corner arc, inside arc. So I'm going to clear marks, jog back to that corner. Okay, move up in Y. So it's probably hard to see, but I've got a crosshair on the, so I don't need my little postie stuck to the screen anymore. I've actually got a crosshair on the video screen, so I'm going to mark that position as the first one. Move up a little bit, slowly in Y. Move over in X, right on that edge again, up there. Capture another spot, move up in Y, over in X, right on the edge, and capture another one. So now it's telling me the diameter is 0.543, radius, and the center coordinate of that arc if I wanted to move to that position. So the really cool thing here is we've got a live connection to the house, which is feeding us all these coordinates, so we don't have to write them down or fool with them. We can capture them right into the software and make calculations off of it. So that's just really cool. So we can also change the color of the cursor. We can change the opacity, so we can make it, the opacity, so you can actually see what's underneath the cursor, which is kind of cool, I thought. This is 100% generated with Claude code from Anthropic. So I didn't write a single line of code. This is all written in Python with a library called Qt that does all the graphics. And then there's a bunch of other libraries like NumPy does all the mathematics stuff. There's a bunch of other libraries that it's using too. And Claude code figured out what libraries it needed, brought them all in, and made it all work. I didn't write any of this. All I did was type in the prompts on what I wanted. Right now I'm going to go back and ask it, can you make this cursor wider, right? So we got so many settings. Actually started a second page here, settings, and letting you do even more stuff. So I'll have it add that, and we'll be right back in a minute. I'll have Claude make the change, and we'll be right back, and we'll look at it here in a second to see how it turned out. Okay, for those that want to actually see Claude code make this change, figured I'd show you quick. You can jump ahead of this. I'll give you a timestamp to jump to if you don't want to watch any of this, which is fine. So there's our directory. Fire up Claude. Okay. Can we change the width of the crosshair to be a variable amount that is set on the settings tab? Switch to Opus. Opus fine is fine. So Claude is Clauding, chewing through some tokens, which is fine. I'm not trying to promote AI or anything, but this is $20 a month. So for $20 a month, you get basic usage, gives you about 3 hours of intense usage. For $100 a month, you get pretty much unlimited usage. So I'm currently paying $100 a month because I'm using it for a lot of stuff, and I've never hit the limit, even using Fable, which is their biggest model. But everybody says that there's not a lot of difference between Opus and Fable in terms of coding. So, and Fable burns twice the number of tokens. So even though I've never hit the limit, I'm like, man, I might as well just use Opus. If you're not getting any benefit, why not? So yeah, don't ask again. So hey, look at that, a thicker cursor. So hang on a second. Let me stop this. So here's Claude automatically started the hair splitter, and here's settings, line width 2 pixels, I guess. So let's make it 5. See what happens. Oh my. Yeah, that's pretty cool, I guess. Make it all the way down to 1. There's where we started. Wow, it goes up quick. That's 1 pixel, huh? Okay. So maybe 2 pixels? Wow. Yeah, I don't like how it's so thick in the middle here, so can you change the center part of the crosshair to always be 1 pixel? Let's see what he does with that. So yeah, each change takes, 30 seconds to several minutes, which is fine, I guess. You start going off doing other things, surfing the web or whatever, and if I'm on something else, when he stops, he's done, or he has a question or whatever, because he's in the background now, it'll on a Mac, it'll do a little chime up here. It'll say bing. Hey, I'm done with what I'm doing. It's time for you to pay attention. So he's stopped over here. So let's see if it makes a liar out of me. It should bing here any second, saying, "Hey, I'm waiting on you, dude. Come on, give me the bing." It's called a notification in Mac world, but There might be a delay on it after a minute or two of no attention, then it bings. I can't remember. Probably a setting somewhere, but let's keep going. This command uses background. Yeah. Proceed. So, oh, look at that. Inside is now smaller. Wow. Wow, that's kind of cool. What's it asking now? Do you want to proceed? Yes. Wow, I wonder if we should make that so that you can actually change it. Instead of being hard-coded to 1 pixel, you make it something else. But yeah, anyway, I mean, you could just go on and on with this. I'm thinking of maybe having a little sub window down here, asking him to make a sub window down here that would be a magnified version of what's in the center here, right? So you get the overall view up here, but then in the bottom corner you'd have a greatly magnified version of it. So I'm not quite sure what he's doing back here. Let me verify. Actually produces 1 pixel. Looks like he's doing stuff to verify. Yeah, and then we'll hit him with making the change. Oh, so one thing that's kind of cool. Let me jog this over a bit. Move it up on Y. You can see how our camera is slightly cocked, right? I mean, so you could get in and try and twist the camera to get it perfectly aligned, you know, but it's just off over here a little bit, so it needs rotating. So cool feature is you can come in here and say I want the cursors rotated. So that actually looked like that helped, right? Made it a little straighter, maybe a little too much. Let's make it maybe 0.9 degrees. That looks better. So after you get the cursor aligned to the actual video stream, you can then come in here and say rotate the image instead. So now the cursor's back to straight, and you can see how the video is actually being rotated that amount. So basically we've got a software means of aligning the camera. It didn't really matter, right? You're just using this very center point. This is just more for reference than anything else. So it's a gee whiz thing, but all this is kind of gee whizzy, to be honest, but still pretty cool, pretty helpful. Change the transparency. You can see underneath it, right? It's just a ghost. It's just cool stuff. I mean, it's just, you got to come on and give me some. This is cool, and to be able to get this for just a few prompts to Claude to create all this is just unbelievable. Turn the cursor on and off. I mean, it's just cool. Okay, so here it is. It probably churned for 10 minutes or more. Took a couple of prompts, but now on the settings tab we have our zoom window, size, you know, all this stuff. Made it kind of cool. Come over here, and now there's a checkbox here to show the zoom window. So I got it cranked in pretty high. Let's turn that down to maybe 2x instead of 4x. But so that lets you, you know, zoom right in on that edge. Maybe it's useful, maybe it's not. If it's not useful, you can just throw the checkbox and get rid of it. But if it is useful, you can control the size of it too. Make it smaller, maybe like 25%. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, it's just a little helper thing to try and help you find that exact edge. So something that could, and we could ask Claude to add this to a hotkey. Maybe the Z key or something can turn it on and off real quick instead of having to come up here and throw this checkbox. It would do the checkbox for you, in other words, no matter where you were. So yeah, pretty cool.